they're going to show the process of how they created light. And this is really important because there's a lot of misinterpretation, misrepresentation about dark and light in the universe and in the spiritual world. And so the beings that created light, right? So the second stream angelics, their mission, their purpose in existence is to create experience. And so now they want you to begin to associate light with experience, not as an opposition, right? So most people think about it in opposition to dark. There's light and there's dark. That's not the intention of light. Creating light, right? You can feel the energy. It's fundamentally different, okay, than the belief system that is currently going around on the human plane, if you will, right? So light is an essence of existence that requires less participation, okay? Less effort in the participation. Now, what does that mean? It means, so you can feel it, right? If we're in darkness, and again, darkness isn't a lack of brightness, okay? Darkness is referring to the concept of matter, okay? So first stream angelics, in order for them to create matter, which is their mission, right? They need to initially create programming for molecules, right? So they're magnetizing them, right? So when they're creating an energetic charge, it's a level of magnetism, right? That's what keeps particles together so that they become something solid, as we would perceive it as solid, right? That's how they create planets and stars and, ecosystems, all of that. But it takes significant effort to, you can feel the energy. What the first stream angelic, the first one of that stream, what he's sharing is, in order to hold space for that to occur, right? So for that level of frequency and vibration. So he must be able to first, this is not the creator, he must be able to first hold that frequency in his own space. So what does that mean? That means that the angelic, right, who created, so the first stream, he was created by the creator. Once he realized that we want to create matter, Cole's Notes version from the last episode, okay? And then the whole stream was created. But this stream of angelics, okay? So they're in the dark. They're not dark angels. They're angels who ultimately create matter, create the physicality, yes, but it's the frequency behind the physicality. So it far exceeds just like what we understand as Earth and the solar system and how all those things work. So in order for them to create each one of these magnetic charges, they have to be able to shift their energy into each one of those charges. Just feel that for a minute. So they need to completely become the magnetic charge that they want to infuse into those molecules so that that can be created. Do you see? Another huge aspect and window into creation. They need to become it themselves, right? So that they're vibrating with the magnetic charge that they know. Why do they have to do it? Because in doing it is the moment that you go, that's the perfect amount for that experience. They know what the charge needs because they're in it, they're experiencing it, okay? And so it's primal. right? Their existence, their being is primal as a result of that. So they're not working in the dark and the light. They're working with the fundamental aspects of creation and existence. So now we come into the second stream angelics, which we're charged with. Now we have all of this matter. What are we going to do with it? Do you see? It's primal again. So they're not, light angels versus dark angels. It doesn't work that way. So the second stream angelics were originally created with that dark, intense matter. Okay. And so what happens is their frequency and vibration, they had to become different experiences, which is different than becoming different matter. So matter is more static, it's more stable in the sense of once it reaches that frequency and vibration, it becomes that frequency and vibration. You see, experience is about reaching a frequency and vibration that allows it to continue to flow and move. So that's also light and dark. It's also it explains entirely the masculine and the feminine aspects of existence. It's perfect and it's beautiful, right? So the masculine is the contentment of being, and the feminine is the ability to flow. So what's really interesting is, these are primal aspects of existence, but you can see how we've been manipulated, and we have, because goes all the way back. This is, tens of thousands of years of using primal aspects of existence, and they manipulate them enough into thinking that this is the way it is, right? So there's light and there's dark, there's good and there's bad, ha ha ha, and there's boys and there's girls. This has nothing to do with boys and girls, men and women. It has everything to do with understanding masculine and feminine energy. Okay. So masculine energy, imagine for a moment, okay, when the two come together. So that's actually how babies are born. Because when you bring, right, how babies are conceived. So when you bring together the ability, so feel this, right? So that masculine, that darkness, it's not dark as in bad. Again, it's primal, right? The aspect of existence where we need to create a frequency and vibration, and we need to raise the vibration to where another being can be born. And then you have the feminine aspect that understands the flow of how energy is going to move throughout an experience. So, does that mean that the energy that is created in the light, right, the second stream angelics, they don't need to create the full story of the movement? They need to create the ability for movement, the possibility. Do you see? So it's very, very different. So here, there's a lot of people thinking, well, I want to know my purpose and I want to know what I'm supposed to be doing. That's why it's not a job description. It's understanding that this is your potential. That's a purpose, right? When you have an understanding of what your potential is, then what happens is you can expand into it. So the second stream angelics were tasked with creating experience itself. And so experience differs in frequency from the first angelics, in that it has to have room and space for movement. It has to allow for growth beyond what it's programmed to do, right? Okay. So this is really important in the sense that you can feel it. So they're showing me, like, this is how light was created. The concept of light, the concept of ignition, if you will. It's a better word than light, actually, ignition, because an ignition means that a spark of something new has come into being. Okay. And so ultimately, that's what the second stream angelics, so the second stream angelics were tasked with. And so it's not as heavy as, and I use that word, like you can feel it, right? The energy is more dense. It doesn't mean it's heavy like a blanket and it's a weight. It means it's more primal, right? It's more dense when you feel into that energy. So when you come to the second stream angelics, it's an understanding that it's less dense, right? It's not a higher frequency is more important because again, humanity has been taught about hierarchies. And this is not about that. It's about understanding that second stream angelics created opportunities for experiences to unfold. Okay. And in doing so, they encoded into universal intelligence an aspect of existence that didn't exist before they were here. And in fact, they created trillions and whatever the bigger numbers are. I don't even know them. Okay. It doesn't even matter because it's not quantifiable. It's never ending potential is what it is. Okay. And so second stream angelics it's like the fulfillment of expression is how they're sharing it. The fulfillment of expression. How beautiful is that? It's an understanding that what comes from them is ever growing. It's ever moving. It's ever changing, but they don't think about it as change. Humans would see it as change because we've been taught change is uncomfortable, right? But when you feel into the energy, so it feels softer than the first stream angelics. It's smoother, but it's softer, okay? And you can feel it. That's where the growth is. It's ever growing. It's not just moving for the sake of moving. It's ever growing. It's like, a creek or a river that's constantly moving, right? It's not moving just because it's going downhill. It's understanding that that water is encoded with a mission for existence itself. It's not just going down, down river and it goes to just a lake and that's it, or an ocean or whatever it is. It's understanding that its mission is to propagate the planet. Like feel that for a minute. So what we see with our eyes, right? We see, maybe there's some water, it goes down a river, it goes into a bigger body of water, or maybe you can't see it because it's going under the ground. No, that's not it. It's understanding that that water, okay, is charged with a frequency and vibration that allow it to float and flow fluidly through all of creation itself. So it goes down into the earth to the core that we can't even understand because we've been told it's just too hot and it's molten and nothing can exist down there, right? But what the water's showing me is it comes from there. It comes from the core of the earth. And it comes out in ways that we couldn't understand because we haven't seen it, because it doesn't shoot out of the sky, right? Like shoot up and into the sky rather. But it's also understanding that it is programmed to move into the sky, right? Obviously, it comes down as rain and it's a cycle, but it's a bigger cycle than what we can see. And that's the whole point the second stream angelics are trying to make and help you understand is creation is based on participation in existence. Okay? So if you want to have an experience in your life, what is the participation in existence that you're willing to offer the universe in order for you to receive it? And it's not an eye for an eye. It's recognition that that's what you're encoded to do, right? So there's a lot of people who, look at their mission and they go into the self-sacrificing. Well, I'm serving and I'm serving and I'm serving and it's not coming back. But if you're serving from a place of needing to perform for others or without understanding, and this is the key, what the second stream angelics are sharing is If you're not in the flow of universal existence, you will not receive. That's the point. Because here's the thing. I just had this beautiful awareness, like they're showing me the concept of receiving is completely off. So far off, it doesn't actually align with existence. Feel it. Because in universal existence, there is only flow. It's a constant flow of energy, and either you're a part of it or you're not. You know those moments in your life where everything seems to fall in together, it just works? That's because you're in the flow. But if you're out of the flow looks like, I want this and I'm going to work towards it. But you're not in the flow, because in the flow recognizes you're participating, because participating is what actually means something to you. So if you're participating only to get the prize, you're not in the flow of universal existence. It's understanding that who you're being is the most important, but not who you're being to other people and to perform and to be a good person so that you can get, patted on the back or the shoulder to say, oh, what a great job you did. No, that's not how the existence works. And that's what the creator was sharing in part 132 of the story of creation. The last part, he was sharing that he is not up there watching what you're doing to tell you if you're doing right or wrong, because you don't need anybody to tell you what you're doing is right or wrong. No one's going to pass judgment on you, because there's no such thing as hell. There's only the in between of existence. It's the fullness. So you just go back home and you have full awareness. Home. You go home. When you're not in this life, you go home. But the whole point is, and this is the problem, is that human existence is no longer home, but it was always meant to be. It was always that way for billions and trillions of years. It's only in the past 50,000 or so years that it is no longer home. So we're here searching. So you know that feeling and that longing that you have of wanting to go home? That's because you're meant to create a world right now. You're meant to help bring back that truth of human existence so that we can together maintain and bring back the aspect that this is home when you're in physical life. So ultimately, the second stream angelics are vital in this process. This is where you begin to understand the flow of existence. Okay? Now, it's tricky. It's tricky to understand when our brains have been taught so many different things that are not in alignment with existence. Okay? So strategies and, just ways of doing things. And it takes years to accomplish this goal. And, this is out of your reach because you don't have this, and that. You don't have this degree. You don't have this awareness. You don't have this experience. Blah. You don't have this money. All of those things. None of them are aligned with existence. You see, second stream angelics are explaining that truth is based in frequency and vibration. And your capacity to, it's not even tune into that energy. It's your capacity to become that energy is innate in you. It's innate. You don't need somebody to tell you who you are and what you're capable of. You don't need to tell someone to tell you what you can and can't do. What you need is to be able to allow yourself to feel what you're capable of, to feel what you want to experience. Because here's the thing, when the universe shares a vision with you of maybe it's the future of your life, the future of humanity, the future of whatever aspect of existence that you're experiencing and you're interested in, okay? But when they show you a vision, sometimes it's just seeing something that's happening that is just so wrong, right? I was having a conversation the other day with a friend who um, who is in the hospital, and the food that they're eating is the worst food in existence. And, you know, she can't understand how this is happening, how this is occurring. Now, here's the thing. It's not the first person I've had this conversation with, and it certainly won't be the last. But that is one of the greatest challenges in human history. When we go somewhere and we know we're being told that you're going there to feel better, to get fixed, right? To heal. And yet what they're giving you is in absolute contradiction to healing itself, right? So when you have a strong awareness of that, you feel it in your bones, that's part of your mission. That's part of your story. And your story isn't to tell them what they're doing wrong. Your story as a human being, who's a soul in this universe, okay, is to find a better way. And because you've been raised and understand this system of manipulation that we've all been propelled into, but you understand it. You were raised in it. You're inside of it. You know how it works. So your job and your mission is to allow all the parts of you to propel you forward. Okay. And this is where, a lot of people would say, oh, no, there's no way I can change, that because this is how it's funded. And this, there's always a way. There is a way. Does it mean that it's going to take immense effort? A lot of the things that are going to change humanity are going to take more effort than you want to put in. But here's the thing. We have to come to that place where we understand and recognize that we're here right now for a reason, right? Humans are tired. We're exhausted. We're tired of being manipulated, but we're tired of feeling like we have to work against a system. But what if we stopped working against the system? And what if we started to allow the wisdom of universal beings and our own universal selves, right, our souls, what if we started allowing that information to come in? Instead of going, oh, that's too big for me. Oh, that's going to take too much effort. Oh, I'm going to have to do so much paperwork, or I'm going to have to learn so much. What if we started going, I can see how that's going to change the experience for humanity going forward? And what if we started to work towards that? And all of a sudden, you're now in the universal flow because you understand universally, can feel it. I have goosebumps from head to toe. But you understand universally how your energy flows. So what happens is pieces of your puzzle start to come together. All of a sudden, you meet somebody who's like, oh my gosh, that is my mission too. I just didn't know how to do it. And you're like, now we're stronger together. There's two of us who can do this. And I have these skills and you have these skills. So let's go do that. And then we'll just get together and we'll meet and we'll just keep working. And then all of a sudden, your frequency goes up. And you know what that means? You're now broadcasting a stronger frequency into the universe because you're aligned with universal existence. And all of a sudden, there's other people who reach out and they're like, oh, I want to do that. And I'm meant to do this. And all of a sudden, it becomes this beautiful collaboration, exactly what they were talking about in part 132. This is how it happens. So in part 132, we talked about the first stream angelics, the primal aspects of existence. And then now we're talking about second stream angelics experience. That right there, that picture that they painted, that is exactly how experience works. How second stream angelics bring an aspect of existence into being. It is all these steps, guys. It's not just one little thing. It's not just, I want this, I'm going to manifest and I'm going to bring it to me. Sure, you want to have a physical experience? Great, have it, yay. But if you want to change the world, right? And not change the world according to Michelle or you or whoever, whatever you are. It's understanding that that's why you're here as a soul right now. Because we need to reclaim, it's not reclaiming our sovereignty because someone took it away. It's recognizing we gave it to them. Every time we say, I can't do it, it takes too much effort, it takes too much money, it takes more skill than I know. That's you giving it away. They didn't take it from you. You're just not participating like you were created, like all of humanity was created. And yeah, so what? There's a whole bunch of things going on that are going to be challenging. You know why you're frustrated? Because for so many years, you've been told you can't do things, you're not good enough to do things. And that's this right now in this moment. The Creator is here and He is saying, you're everything to creation. Everything about why I created this universe, about why I created you, about why I created the opportunities for you to experience your potential. It doesn't hurt Him when you choose not to. He says it just means you can't experience you. But that's your choice. And it also means that He can't experience you any more than what you're experiencing yourself. Because remember, like what He shared in 132, He's just holding space for you. So if you feel into that, right, it's kind of like a cross between second angelics and first angelics. When you hold space for someone, it is just being in their presence, completely allowing who they are and their energy to fill you. Why? Because it just feels beautiful to be in connection with other universal beings. And He says, that's it. That's all He wants from you. He just wants to feel you. Your emotional reactions, that's a part of who you are. But He says that doesn't define you. It's what you choose in this life to limit you. But it's not who you are. Your emotional reactions are the result of years of trauma and suffering. So what? He says, He does not feel bad for you. And this is the whole thing. You have to stop thinking that there's somebody up there who feels bad for you and is going to let you through and let you pass because you did good things for other people. This is not a world of doing good deeds. It's not what it's created on. That's part of the manipulation. Creation is primal. There is zero judgment, zero, nothing. That means He's just watching. He's just experiencing you. He doesn't have any thoughts of that was good, that was bad. You can go, you can stop. I can't believe that you're going through this. That's so hard for you. Zero thoughts like that. There is no pity. There's no remorse. There's nothing like that. There's the purity of the experience itself. And this is the part that is hard to swallow, hard to understand, because we've been raised in the family dynamic that says we feel bad for the people that we love when they're going through things. We have to help them. We have to shape them. We have to do things for them. And then we get resentful when people don't do things for us. Right now, right, we've got this whole paradox of this world where children are being inundated with aspects of existence that are not pure. And then we've got a whole bunch of adults saying, they weren't raised with parents who could understand their emotions. So we still feel sorry for ourselves that this didn't happen. We're so fixed in our pity and feeling sorry for ourselves that we can't actually get into the flow of energy and allow ourselves to participate in existence how we were created to. We can't get there because we're too busy feeling sorry for ourselves. And so what they really wanted you to understand today, this is why we talked so in depth. It's 11:11. I just looked at the clock, so it's pretty cool. But ultimately, this is why they talked so in depth today about understanding the difference between light and dark. There's no such thing as good and bad. That's all human perspective. It is what the manipulation is based on. It's based on good and bad. Because there's no such thing as good and bad, right? Those pros and cons lists, it's understanding. Pros and cons are about moving towards what you want to experience. It's not about good and bad. There's no parts of you that are good or bad. You are who you are because you were created in this universe, and it's up to you to decide how you're going to experience you and what you're going to do to experience you in each moment. That's it. And then everyone in your space, right? And I say that loosely because it's not just your family and your friends, it's the entire universe who has the opportunity to feel into your energy. The entire universe. That's how this works. There's nothing hidden because we don't have anything to hide because there's no judgment. We don't have anything to hide. You see? This whole concept of good, bad, evil doesn't exist. Yes, there's people who do really crappy things, but for the most part, there's not that many of them, right? We toss around words like narcissism and, all of these things that, when you see somebody else as a narcissist, that's you feeling sorry for yourself. And we have to start looking at the truth of that. When we start throwing words around that judge other people, that put labels on other people, it's you feeling sorry for yourself. I know that that is a hard pill to swallow when you perceive somebody as doing some horrible things to you for so many years. But here's the thing. You stayed. You chose. And your brain will tell you, well, I was really hoping they would turn it around. I was really hoping that they would become someone else, or they became this person as a result. Well, what did you do to help them, understand where that came from in them? Or maybe they were like that all along and you just didn't want to see it. You see, those are the truths that we have to start swallowing as a society. But we're too scared because we don't want to admit that we did something wrong. It's so much easier to blame somebody else. So, people keep saying, how do we change the world? How do we change the world? This is how you change the world. Stop trying to change it from the outside in. It has to change from the inside out. You have to start. You come back to the place of awareness. Get into the flow of existence, the flow of energy. What does that mean? It's not woo-woo. And energy is the primal aspect of existence. It's not woo-woo. It's who you are. And feel into the energy that's flowing through you, because that's where your inspirations come. That's where your knowing comes. This is wrong. This is right. Not good and bad, wrong and right. Wrong and right is this doesn't feel right for me. I'm out. Or this feels right. Let's keep going. Now, right and wrong has nothing to do with how much effort you have to put in. That's the other part. When something takes a lot of effort, right? You have to learn so many different parts of existence in order to be able to fulfill it, right? For me, I despise technology. I don't like learning it. It hurts my brain. And yet I absolutely adore it. Why? Because it lets me be here with you. Do I care that it's not as professional as it could be? I really don't. I love being able to see the people in the community. It's alive. Like, that's how I shoot this. I don't shoot this. It's not scripted. I'm having a conversation with a universal being. I'm not editing anything, nothing out, because I want it to be as pure as possible. But in order for me to do this well, I'm better when I have an audience, because it's not an audience watching me. It's an audience that lets me know what they're feeling in reaction to the universal information that's coming through. So now I have two energies, right? So there's a whole group of people who are receiving the energy that I'm sharing, and there's universal beings on the other side, a huge group, right? Millions, billions, and they're sharing. So I'm exchanging in the energy. I'm in that flow. That's why it's better. It does not work for me if I try to script anything. You should see the intro. Whoa. But that's not the point. The point of that whole example was to say the things that you don't like, the things that make you super uncomfortable. Technology makes me super uncomfortable. Why? Because it doesn't flow with my brain and how my brain works. But there are incredible people. It's so natural for them. It's incredible, right? And what happens is when we come together and we collaborate, we create greatness. We have the potential in us to create greatness if we just stop judging ourselves and each other, right? We stop feeling sorry for ourselves. Ugh, I know you're not going to like me very much right now, but that's okay. Because here's the thing. When you can allow yourself to recognize where you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're going to overcome the greatest hurdle of your life. The greatest hurdle ever. Because in recognizing who you're being in the world, it gives you the opportunity to come back into alignment, back into flow. Because there is no flow there's no pity in flow. Zero. There's no judgment in flow. So if there's any judgment that comes into you, you know, if you start working on something and all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, then they make it more difficult. It's how you react to them making it more difficult that means everything. If you come out of the flow because you react to them, that's on you. It's not their fault for pulling you out of the flow. It's your fault for allowing that experience to pull you out of the flow. Okay? It's not really a fault, but it is. It's understanding and recognizing that that's how you're choosing to participate in existence. So there's no expansion. You just sit in that frenetic energy because frenetic energy means there's no flow to it, right? It bounces off of itself in one static position, in one static place. So there is no movement. You need to get out of that. In order to get out of that, you have to see how and what you're doing to hold you in it. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Nobody put you there. You put yourself there. So give yourself a good, swift kick in the butt and get yourself out. How do you do that? By being super honest with yourself. Not brutally honest, right? This, again, good and bad, right? Super honest. You have that ability. It's instant. You can literally feel into the truth of anything and everything in any moment because you were designed that way. Okay? This is a big one, guys. Short and sweet, but it is a big, big message. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Michelle Vickers. I look forward to seeing you next time. Subscribe, comment, let me know where you're at, what you're feeling, and if you're participating in this future of human existence. You know, we've got to do this. That's why we're here. And we're all ready. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.